So yesterday when I woke up, like I always do, I checked my QUESTRADE account, and to my surprise, I found 100 shares of Google. I suddenly owned 100 shares of Google at $12.85. So that's $128,500. And that's $128,500 that I do not have. So I suddenly owned 100 shares of Google on margin. So of course I panicked. If it's on margin, then it's borrowed money. Does that mean I have to pay it back? Where am I going to get 128,000? What if I can't pay it back? What's going to happen? So I totally panicked when that happened. So let me explain. So the day before earnings came out on Google, I made an options trade. I sold an iron butterfly. It was a stupid trade because it had very low probability of success, but the premiums were high. So let me explain. So I sold the 12.85 call and the 12.85 put. The stock was trading at 12.85 then. So I sold the 12.85 call and the 12.85 put. And as protection, I bought the 12.90 call and the 12.80 put. So what that means is, and that option expired May 3rd. So what that means is, if Google stays within that range of 12.80 to 12.90, then I'm profitable. But if it goes outside that range between 12.80 and 12.90, then this trade is not profitable. But because the premiums were so high, I collected $481. The max that I would have to pay to close this trade is $500. So this is an option selling strategy. So I sold the option, collected $481 up front, and worst case scenario, if the stock is trading outside the boundaries of 12.80 and 12.90, I would have to close the trade by paying $500. So my max loss is the difference, 500 minus 481 that I already collected. So the max loss is $19. So obviously the next day, the stock was trading at 11.85. So Google dropped hard after earnings. So it was way outside the range. So that was stupid of my part because it was really, there was such a good chance that Google trades outside of that range. So this trade, although there was very little risk in terms of money lost, but the chances of success were very low. So it wasn't a smart trade to make, but I said, hey, I'll just risk $20. It's worth trying just to see if it does happen. Well, I make $481 or something close to it. And worst case scenario, I just lose $20. But what I didn't consider is one of the options could get assigned. So that's what happened when Google was trading at 11.80 after. So because, of course, Google was trading outside of that range, the chances of getting assigned increased. So my put option at 12.85 got assigned. So I ended up owning 100 shares of Google without even asking for it. Ended up owning it at 12.85 while Google was trading at 11.80. So not only did I end up borrowing $128,500 from my broker account to buy 100 shares of Google, but the market value of Google dropped 10% or something. I borrowed more money than I could actually borrow, plus I was down on that position. So I was placed in a margin call of at least $7,000 that I had to pay back or else. So the risk with that is that when you're placed in a margin call, the broker can start selling or liquidating your other positions in order to recover their money. So that's what I was afraid of. Plus my TFSA is linked to my margin account with QUESTRADE, so they could start selling positions I have in my TFSA. So I immediately called QUESTRADE and I told them that I'm not really in a margin call because one of my put options got assigned, but I have the long put option as protection. So when I sold the 12.85 put, I also bought the 12.80 put. So that 12.80 put that I bought is for protection in case the stock price does go past 12.80. So that 12.80 put that I bought caps my loss at $500. So when I made the trade initially, I collected $481. If I want to close the trade because the stock is trading outside of 12.80 or 12.90, then I would have to pay $500 to close it. So that means my max loss is the difference, 500 minus 481. So my max loss is $19. And that was my plan. When I went into this trade, I knew that my max loss is $19, so it's worth trying. And I collected $481 up front. But I forgot that my shares, I didn't forget. I knew that my put option could get assigned, but I know that it's very rare, less than 3%. Because the person who bought the put option from me could have just sold the put option and made the profit by selling the put option. Instead, they exercised their put option, meaning they forced me to buy the shares. So when I sold that put option at $12.85, someone bought it. So when someone bought it, that gives them the right to sell the shares at $12.85. So they decided to exercise their right of selling the shares at $12.85. And who buys it? I do. So I ended up buying 100 shares of Google without even wanting, because I sold that put option. That's the risk involved. But because I bought the put option at $12.80 as protection, that put option gives me the right to sell the shares at $12.80. So I sold the put option at $12.85, giving someone else the right to sell them at $12.85. So I ended up owning Google at $12.85, but guess what? I have protection at $12.80. So I have the right to sell Google shares at $12.80. So I bought at $12.85, I sold at $12.80. That's $5 difference times 100 shares. That's $500 lost. But I already collected $481 upfront, so that's $19 lost. Plus commissions, of course. QUESTRADE charges $25 for options assignment and options exercising. So that's $50 that I had to pay in commissions, plus a $19 lost. So I ended up losing $70 on this trade that had very little probability of success, so I shouldn't have gone into it in the first place. But lesson learned. I guess you learn more from experience than taking classes, right? So although I panicked when I first saw 100 shares of Google in my account, I was a little bit excited for a second. How did that happen? But then I panicked because I saw everything in red, everything in the negative, placed in a margin call. How am I going to pay back $128,000? What if I can't pay it back? But I forgot that when you buy the put option as protection, it protects you from that scenario. But so once I calmed down and realized that I had protection by buying the put option, I was worried because they could start selling my positions to pay for my margin call. Even though they know that I can easily fix my margin call by selling the put option that I have, they're not obliged to wait. So what I did is I sent them a screenshot that I'm trying to get my put option exercised, capping my loss at only $500. And I sent a screenshot to the risk department of QUESTRADE to let them know that as soon as this transaction occurs, which takes 1 business day with QUESTRADE, then my margin call is fixed. So don't do anything rash. Don't start selling my positions. But yeah, it was definitely stressful yesterday, especially that it stopped me from placing any other trades because I was in a margin call. So all I could think about is just getting out of this position. It's the first time it happened to me. But I logged back in this morning and everything's fine. I no longer have 100 shares of Google. They're gone. The put option is gone. I still have the call side of the trade, but that's going to expire worthless because the stock obviously dropped. Unless the stock decides to go to 1,300 in 2 days, which is possible, but unlikely. If that happens, then I could lose twice. If the stock decides to go over 1,300 by tomorrow, then I could actually lose another $500 to close that trade. But it's unlikely, and my call side of the trade is just going to expire worthless. But that's why I placed this trade in the first place, because it had protection. I was collecting $481 up front, knowing that if the stock goes in either direction hard, I would only lose $19. It's just the transactions that I had to go through to get to the final result was a little bit stressful because it never happened to me, and we were talking about $128,000 overnight. So what I learned from this is I'm only going to be placing trades with high probability of success. Even though the premiums look nice, I'm only going to be placing trades with high probability of success. And I'm going to try to focus more on covered calls, because what's great about covered calls is even if your trade goes bad, you still end up owning the stock. You don't lose your shares at expiry date. They don't disappear. You still have the shares. They just might be down by 5 or 10%. But with iron condors or credit spreads, you have an expiration. And come expiration, you either make money or you either lose money. Plus, covered calls, you can trade in a registered account, so you can get it tax-free. And if it's not in a registered account, it's considered capital gains. But iron condors and credit spreads are only traded in non-registered accounts, so it's taxable and it's considered trading. So it's going to be 100% of your gains will be taxed. So if you consider all that, it just might be worth it to stick to covered calls. So yeah, I just wanted to share with you my terrible experience yesterday, waking up to 100 shares of Google on margin. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Like always, if you can open an account with QUESTRADE to trade on the stock market, use my referral code in the description below the video to get up to $250 back. If you want to get trade alerts live as I place them, you can sign up to my WhatsApp group for $10 a month. I'll be sending my trades as I place them live during the day. And also, if you're looking for an accountant to do your taxes, don't hesitate to message me. Link will be provided below. Thanks for watching.